Chris is visiting Aggie Riley, his father's cousin.
This is it.
Who still lives in Ballina. He hopes she may know more about James Moyles.
Look at this. It's a member of my family with a proper house and a gate. If there's 12 people living in one room when I get in here, I'll be very disappointed.
Chris hasn't seen Aggie since he was a child.
Hello.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
You're quite welcome.
Let me wipe my
Not
feet
too bad.
before I come into your beautiful
Come on,
home.
Adam,
Give me a hug and a kiss. Hello, everybody.
Aggie didn't know her grandfather James Moyles. He died before she was born.
This is it now.
But she does have a couple of mementos on her wall.
So this is him.
That's him now.
So that's my great
Our beloved
grandfather. Your grandfather.
Yes, yes.
And that's a hell of a moustache.
Isn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
Isn't it? Look.
His
behind him.
His is darker than mine. I know that he was a soldier, and I know he died before his wife. So
That's right,
I
yeah.
take it he must have kind of died during service of some kind.
Yeah.
Which I imagine that medal maybe has something
Oh,
to do
was it
with.
1914 he died?
I don't know. That's the thing. I haven't
yeah.
found out
Yeah.
yet.
The medal may offer some answers.
You can borrow that, provided that you take it back to me.
I will. I promise. I'll bring it back to you. I'm not gonna run away with it, unless it's worth money. You'll never see it again. Because that would be great. Can I do that?
You can do that.
Okay.
But promise you're going to take it back, because I
promise.
want it there on that wall there.
I promise I'll bring it back.
That's all right, then you're
Okay, brilliant.
welcome to take it down and bring it with you.
Unless it's worth some money, you're never going to see me again. I'll tell you that.
You will have to find out all about that penny. Yeah.
I'll find out what it all means.
Will you find out?
Yeah, of course I will.
Yeah. Will you let me know everything?
Yeah, I might melt it down.
And I'll melt you down if you don't bring it back the same ways.
Chris is taking the medal to a local historian, PJ Clark.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello, my old friend.
Very nice to meet you.
You're welcome back to Ballina.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Well,
That was this. Look at this amazing place. This has got my great-grandfather's name on it.
That's correct.
So it says around the side, he died for freedom and honour. Now, I know that he was a soldier, and he obviously died and got this, but I absolutely know nothing about it. I know nothing about him and his time in the service.
Well, that was given to all the widows of those that died.
Right, so this is
Right.
this goes to the widow. This
Widow. This looks exactly like an Old English penny.
That's right, yeah.
The B side of it, you would have probably a King Edward on one side or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah,
So
the
that's what
widow's
it looks
penny.
like. That's the widow's penny. And the thing that's
PJ has also found a reference to James Moyles in a book of old newspaper cuttings. It refers to James's regiment in the British Army.
Another Connaught Ranger. So Connaught Ranger will be one of the people in the army.
The Connaught Rangers were a regiment mostly formed from the west of Ireland.
So another Connaught Ranger, home recovering from wounds, gave a thrilling account of experiences at the front. One of the first Ballina men to be killed at the front was Corporal James Moyles of Shambles Street. A married man with 8 children. That's him. Who acted as instructor in the Ballina Volunteer Corps before being called up. Wow, so hang on. So he was a corporal. Wow, that's him. That's my great-granddaddy.
That's the man.
And what is... He had acted as an instructor in the Ballina Volunteer Corps, so what is that?
The Ballina Volunteer Corps, their main object was to get home rule for Ireland. That is a photograph, an original photograph of some of the volunteers.
Oh,
and
wow.
this is James could actually be there.
The Ballina Volunteer Corps was part of the paramilitary organisation that sprung up throughout Southern Ireland in 1913 in support of devolution. After hundreds of years of British domination, Parliament was finally poised to give Ireland more autonomy within the United Kingdom in the form of Home Rule. But Protestant Unionists in the north opposed it and began training with weapons. In the south, the head of the Irish Home Rule Party, John Redmond, rallied a force to protect the Home Rule Bill. 150,000 Catholic nationalists heeded the call, James Moyles amongst them. But a year later, Britain declared war on Germany, and James Moyles went off to fight for the British.
I just don't understand how an Irish nationalist could fight for the British Army. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's a contradiction. So I want to try and work out, why he would do that.
Chris has come to King's House in the nearby town of Boyle. Until 1921, it was a recruiting centre for James Moyles' regiment, the Connaught Rangers. Regimental historian Oliver Fallon has found records of James Moyles' time in the British Army.
He enlisted in 1892.
Okay.
He was 17 years and 6 months.
Yeah.
He was 5'3.5", and he was a Roman Catholic.
Right.
As most were. He had a few tattoos.
Did he?
Yes. He had a cross on each thumb and an anchor on his left wrist.
A cross on each thumb? Wow.
Possibly some religious significance. 3rd Battalion Connaught Rangers. They were a reserve battalion. Now, these special reservists, they weren't regular army. They were reservists.
Yeah.
They went for training for 3 weeks to a month every summer. And then they did weekends during the rest of the year.
Right.
And he had no problem about taking the King's shilling. It was another job to him.
It was just money.
It was money.
Yeah.
And it got him away from the wife and kids every summer, down to Galway with the rest of the lads, marching around, firing weapons and having a bit of crack.
But I'm confused as to somebody who's a nationalist will be fighting then for the British Army.
As an Irishman, there was no other army to join at the time but the
Right.
British Army.
Sure.
Right. And there was no big conflict of interest to be a national volunteer and also to be an ex-British soldier or to be a reservist British soldier.
Right.
And somebody like James Moyles, who was a corporal, good bit of military experience, he would have been used to train these guys.
Wow, okay. I'm not interested.
James Moyles began training the nationalist volunteers in 1913. But in 1914, when war was declared, the British government put Home Rule on hold. To show Ireland's support for the war, the national volunteers were urged to join the British forces, on the understanding that devolution would become a reality once the war was over. 150,000 Irish national volunteers enlisted in the British Army, believing victory would bring about Home Rule. As a reservist, James Moyles was automatically called up. But as a nationalist, he would have willingly gone to fight for the cause of Irish freedom. The regimental war diary shows where James Moyles was posted in August 1914.
You will see here, 3 drafts were sent to the 2nd Battalion in France on August 26th, 31st, which was the day that James Moyles went, and on September 11th, respectively.
So we don't know what happened to him in France at all? We don't know what... Well, he obviously didn't come back.
No.
When James Moyles joined the 2nd Battalion of the Connaught Rangers, he was reinforcing a regiment that had suffered huge losses in the opening engagements of World War I. The Connaught Rangers were part of the British Expeditionary Force, the tiny professional army of 70,000 men that, with the French, took on the million-strong German army. They finally halted the advance of the vast German force just north of Paris. Both sides then attempted to outflank each other, racing towards the Channel ports. A month after joining his regiment, James Moyles was sent in October 1914 to guard the front line east of an obscure Belgian town called Ypres.